As you move on, you're going to learn about SOAPS. SOAPS is really, really important to the way that class is conducted. Also, it's part of your quiz for today. Yes, you do have a quiz. So make sure, I call them knowledge checks, by the way. There's a little parenthesis there. So make sure that you pay very close attention to how those things work so that you can then answer the questions in the quiz effectively. And I, as a teacher, get to demonstrate that you have learned something today. So, what is SOAPS, to be precise? Well, SOAPS is a system that I use to help you figure out how primary sources or secondary sources work. The idea being that if by using SOAPS, which is a mnemonic acronym, that means it's something that helps you remember by using letters instead of full words. The idea being that by using this, you'll be able to take a look at secondary sources particularly, and then in primary sources too, but in a different way, and try to figure out how you can then analyze something in a way that's more effective. So what does SOAPS actually mean? Well, the first letter that you have is the S, and the S stands for speaker. So the first thing I want you to tell me is who is speaking, who is writing, who's making a point, because that's going to help you figure out where you are in writing wise, mathematically speaking, right? If you add 2 plus 2, then you get 4. When it comes to writing, if you look at the speaker, then you'll be able to also assume the result, right? Because you have all this data, 2 plus and 2, which tells you a solution. We don't do that enough in writing, in geography, in English, and in history, especially in history. So doing it now will help you understand more effectively that data leads to conclusions, and that those conclusions will be more accurate the more data that you use. Scientists are like, yeah. Not so much historians, geographers, and social sciences, right? So again, speaker speaks for the speaker. Whoever is speaking the speaking is the speaker. Very good. O stands for occasion, which is a fancy word for a moment in time. So why is the speaker talking? Did something happen? If so, what was it? Explain that to me when you're writing. So Mr. Caballero is the speaker. The occasion is that we're in class. He's a teacher. I'm a student. I'm supposed to learn. Very specific. Very good. And for that AP test, people will be like, oh, look, clearly this person knows what they're talking about. And that's very good news for your score overall. Capiche? Right on. 3, we're going to have an audience, and the idea here is who's listening. If you can tell me who's listening or who this person, the speaker, is writing for in this particular occasion, then you'll understand what the speaker is saying more effectively. The fact that I'm a teacher, that I'm teaching you, allows you to understand how I'm saying things and why I'm saying things more effectively. And then you can write about it, and then you can use that again to write very good specific essays, especially when it comes to primary sources, but also, and we're going to use it the most, on secondary ones. Capiche? Right on. All right, the purpose is, why is the author writing? And that's the P, of course. And we're going to talk about P-ing here in a minute. But P stands for purpose. What is the purpose that the author has in creating or writing this particular piece of writing? And then you have, of course, the final S, and that stands for subject. And the idea is, what is this about? Is this about geography? Is this about history? Is it about writing? And then provide an opinion that allows me to figure out how the topic applies in regards to the other 4. So SOAPS is fairly simple, and I'm asking you to think about these things when you are creating an essay, or when I ask you to answer a question about a video, or about a writing or a reading or some writing someone did. And again, SOAPS, it's a very good, effective way to ensure that you can create an answer that is meaningful and also that allows you to write paragraphs. People are like, oh, I just don't know what to write, caballero. And I'm like, okay, did you look at the speaker, who the speaker is? Did you look at the occasion in which speaker is writing? Did you look at the audience that the speaker is trying to reach? Did you look at the purpose for this particular kind of writing? And did you look at the subject? And people are like, no, I just answered the question. That's great, but not in an essay. So you have to make sure that you write these particular kinds of essays so that then I can give you the score that you want and we can start training for the AP test right away. Cool? Right on. All right, moving on. The purpose of SOAPS is to analyze evidence in context. I should be looking that way. Is to analyze evidence in context. That's way cool. That's like a Brady Bunch kind of thing. Remember that because the purpose of SOAPS is to analyze evidence in context. Also because it's part of your test. So make sure that you can answer this question, yeah? Awesome. All right, now you're gonna watch the John Green video. And the reason I want you to do so is because you're gonna use SOAPS for the very first time. Usually these SOAPS activities, I call them map this activities, will last about 5 minutes. If you're at home, I need you to stop the video for 5 minutes after you watch it and then create a thinking map based on what you think would best fit this description using SOAPS. There are 7 kinds of thinking maps. You can use a double bubble map, you can use a tree map, anything that you think works. Usually what I do is just a bubble map because it's easy, it's simple. I can write down John Green's talk in the middle and then I can describe what the talk is like based on particular bubble points and ideas that I've come up with. So take a look and I would do, John Green video in the center and then speaker, and then I would do the speaker is John Green. I would do occasion. The occasion is the map this activity for day 1. I could do audience. The audience is people who are interested in map making and geography. And there's no real wrong, by the way, here. You could totally guess on the audience, get it totally wrong. The idea is to get you thinking about what's going on rather than just answering the question, right? The idea is to get you to start writing. So you could be wrong. Let's have a talk about that, right? But your opinion, your description, your definition, your ideas as to what's going on, in essence, can never be wrong as long as you do so honestly, as long as you write them honestly. Don't just write, John Green's talking about farts. He's not. That's pretty clear. Write something that you think it's going on, and then I cannot correct you because that's your perspective, as long as you write an honest one. Okay, make sure you write about the purpose for this and make sure you write about the subject of this particular talk. Again, 5 minutes. I'm just going to breeze right through it. And we're going to do a map this activity every single day. All right, my dudes. So I'll make sure that you have everything that you need to succeed. And yeah, that's basically it. So without further ado, I'll see you legends in the next one. All right, here we go. Day 1 of the show. I'm gonna play that in the second screen. Also, I realized there's some issues here with the editing of the system. See, I'm telling you, bros and sisters, I gotta figure this stuff out.